Am I a Christian because it's cool?
I'll take care of myself.
Why can't my feelings be part of my life?
I can handle it.
Why don't I know anything about Christ?
Why don't I know?
Have I just joined a trend?
Is my faith tied up in a marketing scheme?
God doesn't work like he used to.
Adults don't do what they say.
If God knows my future, why won't he tell me?
One God, many religions. To get there, right?
Prayer is just communication, so why is it important?
Why don't I know?
Why don't I know?
I'm better off if I take care of things myself.
Why don't I know?
Christ seems like a waste of time.
Jesus doesn't help me now.
Why don't I know?
I only care about what happens to me.
There's nothing wrong with what I do.
Why don't I know?
Why don't I know?
Why don't I know?
Why don't I know?
The last thing I can do is just read my Bible.
Of course I'm a Christian.
I'm sold out, so what now?
Why don't I know?
I want to tell you about an article I read recently in Newsweek magazine. This article talked about Muslim students in Afghanistan who go to schools in Afghanistan at the age of 5 or 6 years old. And there they begin a process whereby by the age of 13 or 14, they memorize the entire Quran, the Muslim holy book. Not only do they memorize it, these students come to these schools and they speak different languages, the Urdu or the Pashto language. They come to these schools and they memorize the Quran in Arabic because that's the original language it was written in. And I want you to imagine with me for a second what it would take for a church to say, well, we're going to start memorizing the New Testament. And not just memorize the New Testament, we're going to memorize it in Greek. So you do a process where over years you memorize the New Testament in Greek. Then when you finish that, then the task really begins and you say, now we've got the Old Testament in Hebrew. And you say, well, David, that is preposterous. Obviously, we would never do that. We wouldn't even do that in English. Well, I think we need to ask the question this morning, if those people are that committed to learning the words of a false God, then what does that say about you and I in this room that have the words of the one and only true God?